when we start talking about mitigation, your mitigation is going to follow one of these categories. And one of these categories are not super descriptive or detailed, I really should say, but it's going to fall into one of these. In our mitigation, it always starts with policy and procedures that I've mentioned a couple times now. This allows the development of strategies and goals to tailor to your particular organization. Then, frankly, again, it's really a set of rules for all of those that are within the organization as well. Because, again, threats come from within, too. Patch management, bug and security fixes, and version control. Okay, it's written, notice the big and there. That's why I had that bolded there. That's one type of mitigation technique that we use. Documentation on assets and their own capabilities. Some assets, and I've made this mistake before, had their own way of dealing with risks built in, and we didn't read it. Yeah, go figure. But anyway, physical controls such as locks on doors, generators, that type of stuff, and that was a logical and physical, and we talked about that earlier. Segregation, I'm going to talk about that here in a minute, so bear with me, but it's a really important one. Configuration management. How many times has somebody bought a router and then never changed the password that came with it, or password was password? Change that type of stuff. That's really important. Also, when we have this, we're talking about creating a mirrored computer system. That's a baseline too. If those of you that are working on a computer, there's going to be multi-employees that are going to be working on the same computer, having that baseline, have the security that it needs so that when you copy it to some other machine and stuff like that, they all have the same settings, they all have the same security that's on it, they all have the same procedures on it. That's called a baseline. That's really, really important as well. Intrusion detection system for threats in real time, and by the way, that's going to really go under our continuous monitoring for events. You know, as simple as patches, which we talked about, IDS access controls, and logs. We can see, as soon as we create a server that's accessible to the web, it keeps logs of those IPs that are coming in. Hey, this IP is hitting quite a bit on our server. Using logs is actually a really, really easy way to do some type of system analysis or analytics to say if we are being attacked by something. Something as simple as a log, it's just a text file, but it's really, really important, and that's part of the IDS system. In incident response, that part a lot of people seem to forget, or, well, corporations, organizations, they only do it after the fact. Oh, now we'll get somebody together. You really need a group or a team of professionals that can investigate and document the instance, but also follow up to see how we can avoid the issue as well. It's really important to have a team that's established. Talked about continuously monitoring, and then technical controls, use of technology to reduce vulnerabilities as the items that we talked about. Let me go over separation or segregation. In segregation, the screen's going to blow up here a little bit. First, we need to identify the business process for your particular organization. We do that because then, frankly, we can do the rest, as in we can start kind of siloing people or determining the different roles that they can be a part of that's, frankly, some other people don't need to be a part of. So that's why we're going to delegate the overall duties so that we can do some type of access control that we talked about before on the different privileges that they're given access to, or the different data they're given privileges to, items like that. We have our access controls, which is going to be our software way of maintaining that control, and then we have our monitor and review, which we talked about, and then continuously improve. So this is how we do segregation, and it's really, really important, and I'm sure in whatever form that you've come before this class, you have been segregated into some type of role that gives you very limited access, or access just to certain items that you particularly need. So this is an important one.